Most people see inflation as a problem. Prices rise. Money buys less. Daily life slowly becomes more expensive. For workers and families, inflation often feels like a silent tax, something that slowly erodes purchasing power year after year. But within the structure of the modern economy, inflation is not always treated as a failure. In fact, many financial systems quietly expect it. Sometimes they even encourage it, because inflation does something powerful. It changes the relationship between money, debt, and time. To understand why inflation exists, it helps to imagine the opposite, a world where prices never rise, where money keeps the same value forever, or perhaps even becomes more valuable over time. At first, that might sound ideal. If money grows stronger, saving becomes easier. People could simply hold on to their cash and watch its value increase. But this creates a strange economic behavior. If money becomes more valuable tomorrow, people may prefer to wait before spending it today. Why buy something now if it will cost less later? Businesses begin to notice fewer customers. Sales slow down. Production slows down. Jobs begin to disappear. An economy built on activity suddenly begins to stall. Spending is the fuel that keeps modern economies moving. When people buy homes, cars, services, and products, businesses earn revenue. Businesses hire workers. Workers earn wages. And the cycle continues. But if too many people delay spending, the engine of the economy begins to slow. Inflation, in small amounts, pushes the system in the opposite direction. If prices slowly rise over time, money today becomes slightly more valuable than money tomorrow. That creates an incentive. Spend now, invest now, build now, because waiting could make things more expensive. In this way, inflation quietly encourages movement inside the economy. It pushes money out of savings accounts and into circulation, into businesses, into investment, into growth. Another reason inflation exists is connected to debt. As we explored earlier, modern economies rely heavily on borrowing. Homes are financed through long-term loans. Businesses borrow to expand. Governments borrow to fund large projects and services. When inflation rises, the real burden of debt can slowly shrink. The numbers on the loans stay the same, but the value of the money used to repay it slowly declines. Over time, this can make old debts easier to manage. For borrowers, this can feel like relief. For lenders, it represents risk, which is why financial systems constantly try to keep inflation within controlled limits. Too little inflation can slow economic activity. Too much inflation can destabilize the entire system. Prices can spiral out of control. Savings can collapse in value. Confidence in the currency itself can weaken. So financial institutions attempt to walk a narrow path, encouraging just enough inflation to keep the economic engine moving, but not so much that the system loses balance. This delicate balance is one of the most complex challenges in modern economics, because inflation affects everything: the value of savings, the cost of living, the burden of debt, price of assets, even the perception of economic stability. For many people, inflation feels unfair. And in many ways, it can be, especially for those whose incomes struggle to keep up with rising prices. But from the perspective of the system, inflation serves a purpose. It keeps money moving. It keeps spending active. It keeps debt manageable. And most importantly, it keeps the economic machine turning. Without it, the structure of modern economies might behave very differently. Growth could slow. Spending could freeze. Opportunity could shrink. So the system does something unusual. It tries to maintain a force that quietly reduces the value of money over time. Not too fast, not too slow, just enough to keep the machine alive.